Welcome to Empowered Training and Consultation. I'm Dr. Sharon, and today what we're going to be covering is an exercise that I like to do for people and do with people to kind of walk them through um, when there is, some issues within a relationship, or they are looking for or gearing up for searching for a mate or a spouse potentially. And so I walk them through these things. This and it's a list, right? And so the twist is a little bit on the end. All right. So the first thing that I do, and so if you want to follow along with this, you can feel free to do this because it'll help you. It'll make sense at the end, right? So take all take take a sheet of paper, it can be lined or whatever. If you type better, if you type fast, but I prefer writing, right? Because you can write a lot quicker than you can type for most for the most part. Um, so get a piece of paper, set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes, and I want you to write down all the characteristics of an ideal mate. All the characteristics of an ideal mate. Write them down. Be judicious. I don't care if you think that some of them might overlap with others, or that might be a moonshot. I don't care. Write it down. There's a purpose for it. Okay, so go for the 5 to 10 minutes, um, and then from that, right? So once that timer goes off, get up, separate yourself from that document. Leave it there wherever you wrote it, right? So hopefully it's in a space where there's a little privacy. Um, just leave it where it's at. Get up, walk away. Right? Give yourself a couple minutes, refresh, change scenery, and then you come back. And this is a part where it really starts getting intense. Now I want you to take a minute, and out of that list, still not highlighting or crossing out or erasing anything, I want you to identify the top five. And that top five are non negotiables, meaning they must be in operation at least 75% of the time for you to believe that this is a viable relationship. Okay. So identify the top five, and then again, get yourself up, get away from the document. All right. Now you've identified the top five, and it's probably like, yeah, they need to have, then whatever. Hopefully it's not all monetary related stuff and it's more character related stuff. Let me get a sip of coffee real quick. All right. So you've gone through, you've made a list, you've been judicious, you've come back and you've identified the top five that are non-negotiable, right? Now you're back and you're like, okay, what am I gonna do with this list? When do I get to when do I get to show this list to my partner, to my wife, to my husband, to my whatever? Not yet. Not yet. What you're gonna do is identify, being honest, identify the character traits that is in your spouse or significant other, or you know, mate or partner. I don't know how you refer to your that other person in your life, that significant person in your life, right? I know for me, I call my wife my queen. I'll call her Mrs. Sharon. I'll call her, you know, um, that's my babe. That's my heart. So whatever you might refer to your other half as, do that. Okay. So they possess these traits. All right. Now, this is in your space. Remember, 75% of the time, right? So more often than not, we're not looking for excellence in the sense of it has to be perfect. Perfection in that sense is not being flawless. It's being mature, right? And say that again. Perfection is not being flawless, it's being mature. And so 75% of the time or more might seem like you're selling yourself short, but you're not. You're giving grace and space for the person to grow, right? If they're hitting 75, more often than not, then it gives them room to increase. But at least they're operating more, you know, 75% out of 100, right? But now what you're gonna do is you don't get to show this person yet because you know you want to show them all the stuff that they need to do better, especially if they are not if they are only meeting two of your top five. So you come back, right? You say, you've rated your spouse, your mate, or whoever. Now you come back. Now you're going to be completely honest with yourself and identify of those top five which ones are operating in your life more often than not. Which ones do you function in more often than not? And you got to be honest with yourself in this space, because the idea is if you have those standards for someone, then someone else have those same standards for you, and it's important for you to meet those standards. So if you're not meeting them, don't beat yourself up, but you also don't get to beat the other person up in you that you're in a relationship with, right? And it identifies those spaces where you can improve. Now you got a space, now you got something workable, and now you can say, all right, okay, now I said this was a non-negotiable for me, but I'm not even meeting that 75% of the time or more. And now you got what you need to work on for yourself. And as you improve, your relationship improve, right? It's not an external thing. Stop pointing fingers. Look at yourself. What can I do differently in the relationship? And that's when the relationship begins to flourish. All right. So your homework, make a list, identify your top five. If you're in a relationship, identify which of those top five your spouse, your mate, or whoever is operating in at least 75% of the time. If you don't have a spouse or a mate, that's fine. Then just skip to the next one and say, okay, which of these top five am I operating in more often than not? And for those ones that you are, because you're going to be honest with yourself, right? For those ones that are not in operation more often than not, that gives you something to work on and work towards. And now you have your improvement, your self improvement, your personal development kind of list, so to speak. All right. So hopefully this helps, and take care. Dr. Sharon signing out.